Have you ever had something you worked incredibly hard for taken away from you, and then watched as karma served the perfect revenge without you having to lift a finger? That's exactly what happened to me last year, and I'm still not sure if I should feel guilty about it or not. Where are you watching from today? Comment down below. I've been working at Meridian Marketing for almost 5 years now. Not the most glamorous job in the world, but it pays the bills, and I've always prided myself on my work ethic. Late nights, early mornings, covering for colleagues when they're sick, I've done it all without complaint. My dad always taught me that hard work eventually pays off, even when it feels like nobody's noticing. My boss, Jennifer, has been running our department for about 3 years. She's one of those managers who's all smiles during client meetings but turns into a completely different person behind closed doors. The kind who takes credit for your ideas but is quick to point fingers when something goes wrong. I've learned to navigate her moods, keep my head down, and just focus on the work. Music has always been my escape. Ever since I was a teenager dealing with anxiety and depression, I've found comfort in the lyrics and melodies of the Midnight Echoes. I know it sounds cliché, but their music literally got me through some of the darkest periods of my life. When my dad passed away during my senior year of college, I would fall asleep listening to their album, Whispers in the Dark, on repeat. Something about Alex Carter's voice made me feel less alone. So when I heard on my drive to work that local station Radio 105 was hosting a contest to win backstage passes to the Midnight Echoes' upcoming concert, including a private meet and greet with the band, I nearly crashed my car in excitement. The grand prize was 2 VIP backstage passes, and only 5 lucky winners would be selected nationwide. The contest wasn't simple. It required completing a series of challenges over 4 weeks. Everything from scavenger hunts around the city to creating original artwork inspired by their music. Each challenge eliminated contestants until only a dedicated few remained. I spent every lunch break and weekend working on those challenges, pouring my heart into each submission. My best friend Mia thought I was crazy. "Emily, you're obsessed," she'd laugh as I dragged her around downtown looking for clues in the scavenger hunt. But she understood what this meant to me. She's been there through everything. My dad's death, my struggles finding a job after college, my endless complaints about Jennifer. She knew exactly how much meeting the Midnight Echoes would mean to me. "If you win, you're taking me with you, right?" she asked one evening as we worked on a photo collage for the 3rd challenge. "Who else would I take?" I replied. We'd been to countless concerts together, but this would be different. This would be the experience of a lifetime. The final challenge required creating a video explaining what the band's music meant to me. I stayed up all night editing, including clips of me playing their songs on my guitar and talking about how their music helped me process my grief after losing my dad. It was deeply personal, but I didn't care. I wanted them to know what their art had done for me. 3 excruciating days after submitting my final entry, I got the call while sitting at my desk at work. "Emily Stevens? This is Chris from Radio 105. I'm calling to let you know that your submission for the Midnight Echoes contest was selected as one of our winners." I literally screamed, right there in the middle of the office. Everyone turned to stare as I jumped up from my chair, tears already streaming down my face. "Are you serious? Oh my God, thank you. Thank you so much." Chris laughed on the other end of the phone. "Your video was incredibly moving. The band members actually watched all the finalists' submissions themselves, and they specifically mentioned yours. Congratulations. You've won 2 VIP backstage passes to next month's concert, plus the private meet and greet." After hanging up, I just stood there in shock. My coworkers gathered around, asking what had happened. Even Jennifer emerged from her office, eyebrows raised. "I won," I managed to say through happy tears. "I won backstage passes to meet the Midnight Echoes." The congratulations came pouring in. My coworker, Damien, who knew how much I loved the band, gave me a high five. "That's amazing, Em. You deserve it." Rebecca from accounting, who barely knew me, seemed genuinely excited. "Oh my God, I love them too. That's so cool." Even our office manager, Marcus, who's usually so reserved, smiled and said, "Well done, Emily. I heard you working on that video submission after hours. Your hard work paid off." I immediately texted Mia, "We're going backstage to meet the Midnight Echoes," followed by about 20 exclamation points and crying emojis. She called me seconds later, screaming so loudly I had to hold the phone away from my ear. The concert was just 4 weeks away. I received an email from the radio station with all the details about the prize. The exact time to arrive, where to check in, what to bring. The passes would be waiting for me at the will call booth, but I needed to bring ID and sign some paperwork because the passes were non-transferable. That made sense. They didn't want winners selling their exclusive passes online. For the next few days, I was floating on air. Nothing could bring me down. Not the mountain of work on my desk, not Jennifer's passive-aggressive comments about my productivity, not even getting stuck in traffic for 2 hours due to construction. I was going to meet the band that had been the soundtrack to my life. I'd planned everything. Mia and I would take the day off work, drive to the venue early, maybe get lunch somewhere nice beforehand. I'd already decided which album I wanted them to sign. My worn copy of Whispers in the Dark that had seen me through the worst days after Dad died. I even started making a list of things I wanted to say to Alex Carter if I got the chance to speak with him directly, though I worried I might just freeze up or cry when face to face with someone whose voice had been such a comfort to me. "You earned this," I kept telling myself. "All those late nights at work, all the times you've covered for others, all the projects you've poured yourself into while Jennifer took the credit. The universe is finally giving something back." Little did I know that my moment of triumph was about to become a test of character I never saw coming, and that karma would have the final say in a way I could never have orchestrated myself. The day after I announced my contest win, something strange happened. Jennifer, who usually barely acknowledged my existence unless she needed something, stopped by my desk first thing in the morning. "Emily, how are you today?" Her voice had that artificial sweetness that immediately put me on edge. "I was thinking about your amazing contest win, the Midnight Echoes." "Wow." "Thanks," I said, genuinely surprised by her sudden interest. In the 3 years she'd been my boss, she'd never once asked about my personal interests. "You know, I've actually been a fan of theirs for years," she continued, perching on the edge of my desk. "Their first album got me through my divorce. Absolute lifesaver." I nodded politely, though I'd never heard her mention the band before. Jennifer was more of a country music fan. She'd made us all listen to her playlist during last year's holiday party. "Which song is your favorite?" I asked, trying to be friendly despite my skepticism. She paused just a beat too long. "Oh, all of them really. But Midnight Whispers is special." I smiled tightly. The song was actually called Whispers at Midnight. Close, but a mistake no true fan would make. Over the next few days, Jennifer's behavior grew increasingly bizarre. She brought me coffee in the mornings, something she'd never done for anyone. She laughed at all my jokes during team meetings. She even complimented my presentation skills in front of clients, which was a first. "You're in the twilight zone," Mia said when I called to tell her about it. "She wants something." But what could she possibly want from me? I found out exactly 1 week after my win, when Jennifer invited me to lunch, another unprecedented event. We went to the cafe across the street, and she waited until we'd ordered before casually bringing up the concert. "So, the Midnight Echoes," she said, stirring her iced tea. "That meet and greet sounds incredible. Once in a lifetime, really." "I know," I smiled. "Mia and I can't wait." Something flickered across Jennifer's face. Disappointment? Annoyance? Before her smile returned. Mia, that's your friend from college, right? She leaned forward. You know, I was thinking, as your manager, I'd love to support your interests outside of work. Build our professional relationship. I've been meaning to mentor you more directly. My stomach tightened as I began to see where this was heading. Emily, she lowered her voice conspiratorially. I'm actually what you might call a super fan of the Midnight Echoes. I've followed them since their first underground EP. Meeting them has been on my bucket list for years. I nodded silently, picking at my salad. I was wondering, Jennifer continued, her voice taking on that tone she used when asking for volunteers for weekend work. Would you consider letting me use one of your Backstage passes? It would mean the world to me. The request hung in the air between us. I thought about all the hours I'd spent on those contest challenges, the personal video I'd made, how I'd earned this opportunity. I promised Mia she could come, I said quietly. We've been planning to go together since the contest was announced. Jennifer's smile didn't falter, but her eyes hardened. I understand completely. Just thought I'd ask. She paused, then added, I've been considering who should lead the Westlake account, by the way. It would mean a significant raise for whoever gets it. The implicit threat wasn't subtle. The Westlake account was the biggest opportunity in our department this year. I'd been working toward it for months, putting in extra hours and developing a comprehensive pitch strategy. Jennifer knew exactly how much I wanted it. Maybe Mia could go to another concert with you, she suggested. This is such a unique networking opportunity. As your manager, I think it would be beneficial for your career development if you allowed me to join you instead. I felt cornered. My job security, my shot at the Westlake account, my professional future, all suddenly tied to these concert tickets. After an uncomfortable silence, I surrendered. I suppose that would be fine, I said, the words tasting bitter in my mouth. Jennifer's face lit up. That's wonderful. You won't regret this, Emily. This is exactly the kind of professional bonding we need. I texted Mia that night, feeling like the worst friend in the world. Her response was understanding, but disappointed. It's okay, Em. I get it. She's your boss. Do what you have to do. But Jennifer wasn't finished. 2 days before the concert, she stopped by my desk again, this time with a framed photo of herself and a tall, bearded man. This is my husband, Mark, she said, handing me the frame. Did I ever tell you he's a music producer? Small studio, but they're growing. He nearly worked with the Midnight Echoes years ago, almost signed them before they got big. I seriously doubted this claim, but nodded politely. He was devastated when I told him about going to the concert, she continued. He's been dreaming of reconnecting with them, maybe discussing potential collaboration opportunities. My heart sank as I realized what was coming next. I know this is a lot to ask, Jennifer said, lowering her voice. But would it be possible for Mark to use the other Backstage pass? Think about it. You'd be helping build a professional connection that could benefit everyone. He could introduce you to music industry contacts. I felt sick. But then I wouldn't get to go backstage at all. These were my passes. I won them. Jennifer's expression shifted subtly. Emily, I thought you were a team player. This is how networking works in the real world. It's about connections, helping each other out. Besides, bringing a friend to a professional opportunity like this, it would look unprofessional. The manipulation was clear, but so were the stakes. The Westlake account. My position in the company. The recommendation I'd need if I ever wanted to move to another firm. Fine, I finally said, the word barely audible. You're such a sweetheart, Jennifer exclaimed, all smiles again. Don't worry, We'll take lots of pictures and tell you all about it. And I'll make sure to mention your contribution when I discuss the Westlake account assignments next week." As she walked away, I sat at my desk feeling hollow. I'd completely lost the opportunity I'd worked so hard to earn. What had started as the prospect of a dream come true had turned into yet another example of being taken advantage of. But sometimes, when you've been pushed too far, something shifts inside you. And as I thought about Jennifer and Mark using my Backstage passes, a small, quiet idea began to form in my mind. For the next 2 days, I maintained a perfect facade at work. I smiled when Jennifer talked excitedly about the concert. I nodded when she showed me the new outfit she'd bought specially for meeting the band. I even helped her research Alex Carter's recent interviews so she could have something meaningful to discuss with him. "You're being such a good sport about this, Emily," she said on the day of the concert. "I promise I'll put in a good word for you with the Westlake account." I just smiled. "I hope you and Mark have a wonderful time." What Jennifer didn't know, what she never bothered to ask about, was that the Backstage passes required specific documentation. The email from Radio 105 had been very clear. The contest winner needed to present ID, sign a liability waiver, and complete a transfer form if the passes were being given to someone else. The transfer form required my signature, the recipient's information, and had to be notarized. I had done none of this. I'd never completed the transfer paperwork. As far as the venue and the band's management were concerned, Emily Stevens and her guest would be attending the meet and greet, not Jennifer and Mark. I went home early that day, claiming I had a headache. In reality, I couldn't bear to watch Jennifer's excited preparations any longer. I curled up on my couch with a book, trying not to think about what should have been one of the best nights of my life. At 5:30 p.m., my phone buzzed with a text from Jennifer. "Just picked up Mark. So excited. We'll send pics from Backstage." I didn't respond. At 6:45 p.m., another text. "Arrived at the venue. Line is crazy, but VIP entrance should be quick." I put my phone down and turned on the TV, trying to distract myself. At 7:23 p.m., my phone started ringing. Jennifer calling. I let it go to voicemail. Then another call. And another. Then a flurry of texts. "Emily, there's a problem at will call. They're saying the passes are non-transferable without paperwork. Did you forget to do the transfer forms? Emily, this is serious. They won't let us backstage without your ID and signature. Call me back right now." I watched the messages pile up, a strange calm settling over me. I hadn't planned this as revenge. Not exactly. I'd simply stopped trying to help someone who had taken advantage of me. I'd stopped going above and beyond for someone who had never appreciated it. Another call from Jennifer. This time, I answered. "Emily, thank God. You need to get down here right now." Jennifer's voice was frantic. I could hear the crowd noise in the background. "They won't accept the passes without you physically here with your ID. The meet and greet starts in 20 minutes. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said quietly. "But I'm not feeling well, remember? That's why I went home early." "This isn't funny, Emily." Mark and I drove an hour to get here. We're dressed up. We've been planning what to say to the band. "You need to come fix this." "I didn't plan anything," I replied truthfully. "I just never filled out the transfer paperwork." There was a moment of stunned silence. You did this on purpose?" Jennifer's voice shook with anger. The confirmation email explained everything very clearly. The passes are non-transferable without proper documentation. I assumed you'd research this, being such a superfan and all. "We're going to miss the meet and greet because of you," she hissed. "This is completely unprofessional behavior." I couldn't help but laugh at the irony. Unprofessional? Like pressuring your employee to give up something they earned? Like threatening their job security if they don't comply? Like that kind of unprofessional? This will have serious consequences, Emily. I hope you understand that. I do understand consequences, Jennifer. Better than you think. Enjoy the concert from your regular seats. I hear the acoustics are decent even in the back rows. I hung up, turned off my phone, and took a deep breath. It felt like the first full breath I'd taken in days. The next morning, I went to work as usual. I half expected to be fired on the spot, but when I arrived, Jennifer wasn't there. Mark had called in sick for her. Apparently, she was too devastated to come in. When she finally returned the following day, she looked exhausted and refused to make eye contact with me. I later heard from Rebecca, who'd actually attended the concert, what had happened after our phone call. Jennifer and Mark had been forced to use their regular tickets and watch from their assigned seats, in the upper section, far from the stage. During the show, the band had brought the 5 contest winners on stage for a special recognition. The host had announced each winner's name, including mine, and when I wasn't there, security had briefly searched for the missing winner. The real kicker came during the encore. Alex Carter, the lead singer, had dedicated a song to Emily, whose story about her dad touched us all. If you're out there tonight, this one's for you. Jennifer had to sit there and watch all of this unfold, knowing those moments should have been hers. Or rather, knowing they never should have been hers in the first place. The next day, I received an email from Jennifer. Emily, I want to apologize for the misunderstanding regarding the concert tickets. I should have researched the requirements more thoroughly. I hope we can move past this unfortunate incident and maintain our professional relationship. Jennifer, I replied with a simple, I hope you enjoyed the show. 2 weeks later, I submitted my application for a marketing position at another firm. I'd been thinking about leaving for months, but Jennifer's betrayal had been the final push I needed. Life was too short to work for someone who saw me as nothing more than a resource to be exploited. My last day at Meridian Marketing was bittersweet. I'd made good friends there, but it was time to move on. Jennifer barely acknowledged my departure, just a curt good luck, as I packed up my desk. A month into my new job, where I was already much happier, I received an unexpected email from someone named Michael Reynolds, with the subject line, The Midnight Echoes, Special Invitation. Dear Emily, it read, I'm the tour manager for the Midnight Echoes. We were disappointed you couldn't make it to the meet and greet last month. One of our staff recently heard about what happened with your passes, and Alex and the band were quite upset about it. They remember your contest submission video and would like to invite you to a private acoustic session during our upcoming studio recordings. Please let me know if you'd be interested in this opportunity. It would just be you, no additional guests. I stared at the screen in disbelief, tears forming in my eyes. Sometimes, fairness finds its way back to you when you least expect it. I never told Jennifer about the invitation. Some experiences are too precious to share with those who wouldn't appreciate them. And some lessons about karma are best learned without explanation.